Welcome back, folks. This time I'm going to talk about a little game called Hunted the Demon's Forge, developed by In Exile and published by Bethesda. This is one I mentioned on my last video game video where I was talking about dungeon crawlers. And I was like, oh, I'm looking forward to Hunted because it could be something like that. Hunted's nothing like that at all, really. Except for the whole fantasy setting. It's really a straight up action game with like light RPG elements. But the game it plays a lot like Gears of War, especially if you're playing as the female character. Um, it's a co-op action game, and you can either play as Kardak or Lara. I think is the girl's name. I played as the girl through the whole thing. She's more focused on using her bow and arrow, and so that in her case, it really does just play like Gears of War, like cover-based shooting. Although after a while, I stopped using cover because I was way powered up. So yeah, I mean to very simply describe the game, it's Gears of War style gameplay set in like a fantasy setting with very light RPG elements. You could upgrade the powers to your bow. There's magic powers too that you could use, except I didn't focus on them at all. All I did was upgrade my bow, which it was magic powers on my bow. But apparently there's pure magic powers that you could use that I just didn't bother with. I didn't bother playing with Kardak, and I didn't play the co-op. It was supposedly meant to be played with someone else because you're tagging along. You got another person with you the whole time. I just played single player myself straight through. In fact, I got the game yesterday and I beat it, within a day, real quick. It's one of the first games in a long, long time. I can't even remember last time I did this, where I basically played the game straight through. I played all last night. I did some stuff today, like dishes and ate food. I went and saw The Hangover 2. Came back, played through the rest of the game. Uh, did I like it? Yes, I did. I liked it. I mean, it's got to be doing something right if I'm gonna sit through like this. I had some sort of hook that drew me in where I was just sitting there and playing it like that. Um, not the prettiest game, not the most refined, not triple A. Like it lacks that one final level of polish that you could feel on big releases. But overall, very fun. The combat is very fun in it. The powers are fun. The banter between you and your partner is funny. They make jokes about all sorts of stuff from the clothing that she wears to whatever. Um, Overall, it's fun. It's got good Gears of War style combat, but in this different setting. So that I don't know, something about it. I kind of I'm not a huge Gears fan, but something about this was really fun to me. Um, not the longest game, not the greatest game. Uh, Not tons of replay value really. It doesn't have multiplayer. There's not much of a reason I don't think to play through the single player again, unless you're trying to 100% it. But there is this mode called the Crucible, which is basically I think like a level editor. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but so if you are really really into this game, there will be stuff to do because I think you could create and share content. Um, I mean overall, I mean going like 5 hours into this game, like this game is great, man. This is something that just flew in under the radar that people are just gonna love if they give it a shot. And I think most people that play it really will like it. There's a few problems. Like I said, it just kind of lacks that final level of polish that you get off a AAA title. Uh, there's little nitpicks. There's one thing that bothered me is the checkpoints are kind of spread out through a lot of the game, so that you sometimes have to play longer than you want at a time. Sometimes you just want a breather, or you just want to get to that safe zone. There's points where if you die, you're gonna be set back good 15 minutes or so. Um, I heard that the co-op there's problems with it. The difficulty kind of ramps up for it, which I guess is expected. But I guess some of my buddies that were playing they were having issues. I had some issues sometimes where like I felt I had my target on the enemy and my arrow would miss them. It often happened too with my my super arrows. I basically relied on building up my exploding missiles or exploding arrows, and I just powered that up all the way. So I had super awesome exploding arrows. If there was a cluster of enemies, I just shot the guy in the middle. Everyone died. But there were times where it would go right, seemingly right through the guy and explode against the wall, stuff like that. Um, or your co-op partner, your AI partner, in the single player, he would be standing in the way of the guy that you're trying to kill, and that would create issues. I mean, your arrow would go right through him, but sometimes it would just miss the enemy too. I don't know, little things like that, like just little things here and there that were kind of bothersome, but overall, like the combat is very fun and satisfying, and that's pretty much all the game really is the combat. Very light RPG elements. You get to level up here and there. Basically, basic magic upgrades, um, and magic upgrades to your weapon. There, you do like get things like, oh, you could carry more health potions if you do such and such, or you could carry more mana potions. Um, I guess I mean the thing for me was it kind of ran out of steam because, like I said, it is just room after room of killing shit. It really does it's almost like Serious Sam or something at some point where you're just going in. You go into a room, it's locked off. You kill everything in the room. You kill a couple waves of enemies. You go in the next room. You kill a couple waves of enemies. Um, I really wish there was kind of more things breaking up the action, like puzzles, exploration. This game's just very linear. It's just you run right through it, just shooting stuff. Which I mean, I don't really have a problem with. I know a lot of people don't have a problem with, but by the end of the game, maybe it's because I was just plowing right through it. I was getting bored. Honestly, I was just like, every single encounter here feels the same. It's the same enemies. They're just throwing more of them at me. Uh, so I started just running through rooms like near the end, unless I was being blocked off from going through the door. So it is a little repetitive. It's very repetitive. I mean, but that's all games are repetitive in nature. It's just there needed to be a little more variety here. And it's not a very long game. I mean, I'd say each chapter was about an hour and a half. There's 6 chapters in the game, so maybe 9 hours, if that. And I feel like they could have done a little more to break it up, a little more variety. Um, it was okay though. A little bit easy because your partner could revive you and stuff like that. So I never really was afraid of dying. I don't. I think there's one point in the game where I died and my partner for some reason couldn't revive me. He was out of whatever potion you need. But I don't know. I mean, it's not a great game at all. Like let's say I had to like rate it right now, like just off the top of my head, what I would give it, probably like a 7 out of 10. But very satisfying combat. Um, it's a fun time. It's a good rental. Uh, if you're really into it, if you really take your time, you could definitely stretch it out. And there is things to do. Like one cool thing about the game is there are nooks and crannies a lot. There's a lot of little hidden areas and stuff to find in them. I didn't really do that so much, but there is hidden areas. There are like little side missions and stuff that you could do, but you definitely don't need to do them at all to get through the game. And it's pretty easy to stay on the path. It even has like where you click the left stick and it shows you like a trail of where you're supposed to go. But yeah, I don't know. I was just doing a little video of what I thought of it because I know a lot of people, one, have not heard about this game really. Like, they might go and think it's an RPG. It's really not. Or think it's a dungeon crawler like I thought it might be, but it's not. Um, so I know that people haven't heard about it. There's not really many reviews about it out, so I thought I'd just throw my opinion out there so people know. People have some perspective, someone's perspective of what they thought of it. Definitely entertaining. Definitely a good rental. I wouldn't recommend buying, and I couldn't tell you about the co-op, but for a single player game, it's a refreshing new take on it's like a mashup of genres. It's like this fantasy sort of RPG mixed with a shooter that feels like Gears of War. Uh, if that sounds appealing at all, give it a shot. Like I said, don't buy it at $60, but uh, it's fun. It's fun for what it is. It runs out of steam and it's short, but it's fun for what it is. So that's my thoughts on it. Um, let me know if you've played it or whatever. What you think of what I had to say about it. Later, guys.